Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you here tonight. Please find your seats. The program is about ready to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, please find your seats at this time. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to ask you all to please find your seats at this time. We're about ready to get started here tonight. All the folks in the back, the bar will reopen after the programming. Please come in and find your seats.
Good evening, good evening. Did I get everybody's attention? We will open the bar after, we promise. Just a short intermission. Welcome, my name is Jim Alatris. I am the Managing Director of Civic Hall, and I also work for the FedCap Group, which is the parent organization that owns and operates Civic Hall as their Chief Strategy Officer and Senior Vice President for Education. Welcome to Civic Hall, the Bernard Goldstein Center. We are the leading hub for digital skills training, civic innovation, and technology for the social good. Civic Hall, after 1 year, is 579 members strong and growing every day. And tonight, we're thrilled to be showcasing several of Civic Hall's fantastic members at this meetup. More on that shortly from Doug. Tonight's a little different of a meetup. We're celebrating, so we're gonna demo some of our wonderful partners, and then we're gonna have a reception afterwards, so please stay afterwards, enjoy the food that was made by our own culinary staff, and so enjoy that. That's led by Will Edwards, so it will be a fun party afterwards, so please stick around for that. And if you want to, if you haven't, take a tour. We have classes going on tonight, things going on tonight, so we'd love to see what's going on. Let me give you a couple of stats on our first year. We had 35,000 visitors. By the way, we promised the city of Newark we would have 1,000 people come. We exceeded that, Andrew. We did okay. We held 150 events. We had 1,050 people enrolled in one of the training programs. By the way, with an 80% completion rate, which far exceeds any sort of training provider in the region. We had 450 individuals attend one of our job fairs, and we hosted 44 free community events. That's a pretty impressive stat. Let's give our team a big round of applause for that. And the best is yet to be. We're just getting started. And our success is because of you, our members and our supporters, but also our team. So if you would just permit me, we have a list of people who've made this possible, who work tirelessly day in and day out. They work 24 hours a day. You think a place like this has 2,000 members running the place. We don't. It's a small, dedicated group of people, and I want to recognize them. First, to our core team. We literally could not do this without our core team. We have Doug Bennett, who's the head of our Tech Alliance. We have James Dunn, who heads up our business development. We have Will Edwards, the head of our culinary and our event center. Philomene George, who's the head of operations. She's somewhere probably doing the operational stuff. We have Jen Litt in business development. And then what I call the dynamic duo, the head of our business operations and the head of our facilities, Alec Pace and Henry Pace. And then I'm just going to give you, I want to run down some names. You don't have to clap for everyone, but folks who also make this possible, the unsung heroes. We have at our reception the wonderful group of Keisha and Antoine who meet and greet everybody every day. On our operations team who keeps this place running, we have Jonathan, Nico, Sean. They work tirelessly every day, 24 hours a day. And our events, we have Jordana, Roy Garcia, Manny, Monique, Tanya, Melissa. Our AV team that makes this all work, I don't know how they do it, but it always works. We have Jan, Rick, Will, Kevin, Edric, David, Oliver. Then we have Taylor and Gloria on our business development team. And then a lot of our New York Tech Alliance is by volunteers, people who are just believe in the mission of this place and they come and help every day. We have David, Yingzhu, George, and Jean-Claude. So let's give those guys a big round of applause. And I would be remiss, I don't know if they're here tonight, but we have our partners at the New York City Economic Development Corporation, and two of the people who work there have been instrumental in helping us. That's Darius Siegel and Brian Shockett, so let's give them a round of applause as well. That's our team, but I also want to recognize two of our major supporters. First is Craig Newmark. Not only has he provided financial support, his name's on the outside of that auditorium. He made this auditorium happen for us, this beautiful space that we're in. But he also mentors many of our members. He's here a lot, and he will talk to anyone and help anyone. I know many of you in the audience have worked with Craig before, so we want to give him a big round of applause for all he has done. And then we want to give special thanks to Pat Goldstein and her family for their generous support. Her husband, Bernard Goldstein, we're now named after Bernard Goldstein. We're proud to be called the Bernard Goldstein Center, was a visionary figure in computing. He served in many capacities, including the Apple Board, among other innovation enterprises. But most important, we're proud to be named after Bernard Goldstein because, as his wife, Pat, recently said, quote, Bernard's commitment to fairness guided everything he did, and those he touched were always better for it. And because of their support, Bernard's legacy will live on and positively transform the lives of many who walk through our doors. So let's give Pat, who's here tonight, a big round of applause. Pat already told me it has to be 5,000 people trained next year, not 1,000. So big, big goals. But I saved the best for last. This project would not have been possible but for the vision and tenacity of Andrew Richey, Civic Hall's founder. He had this idea that many thought were too big, too audacious, too complicated. But it's the big audacious plans that are worth fighting for. And though he's aged considerably in the process, has anybody got a look at Andrew recently? He's old, really old. He was young, vibrant when I first met him, colored hair, but now he's distinguished, we call it, distinguished. But although he has aged considerably, we're happy that he never gave up. Because he didn't give up, we are sitting in the place we are today and helping a lot of people. So with that, I'd like to bring up Andrew Richey.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much. Yeah, I am a little grayer than I was when this project started. That's true, but I'm so proud to be here today. How many of you have been here before? And how many of you, this is the first time? Great. So more than half, actually, first time. So you probably don't know the origin story, but I'll just give a very quick version of it. So I was a member of the New York Tech community for many, many years and was lucky enough to be the chairman of the New York Tech Meetup, which is now called the New York Tech Alliance. And I noticed at our demo nights every month, this is about 6, 7, 8 years ago, that 5 or 6 of the demos every month were of nonprofit organizations that were not just trying to use technology because it was cool, but because they wanted to use it to make the world a better place. And I came up with this idea that they kind of need to know each other and meet each other, and where would they might be able to do that? And so I was fortunate enough to be able to find a space on Fifth Avenue, and with some colleagues opened a facility called Civic Hall. And it was basically not a co-working space, it was a collaborative workspace. And the idea is you could be a member, you could join as an individual, you could join as an organization, but the whole purpose of the place was to support the public good. In fact, to join, you'd have to explain what you were hoping to achieve and what you were willing to give. And so within a year, we had 1,000 members, 100 organizations, sponsors like Google and Microsoft, and foundations like the Ford Foundation and Robin Hood joined as members. And we did over 2,000 events in our first 3 years. And then the city of New York put out an RFP to build an office building on this site. And I lived in the neighborhood and knew that this was a very valuable location because of Union Square and all the subways coming through here. And I went back to the city, with a developer and said, let's make an offer to the city they can't refuse. Let's build the largest digital skills training center in the country that would provide skills and jobs to the people who need it most, those who are underestimated, those who are underrepresented, those who are underserved. And let's connect them to the tech employers that all claim they want to hire a diverse workforce, and also connect them to the empathetic muscle of New York, those members of Civic Hall who are part of the nonprofit community and those who are trying to bend technology for the public good. And to our surprise, the city said yes. So you're in a building within a building. There's 90,000 square feet of space here. You're in the main auditorium. But on the floors above, there are 16 classrooms filled with students who are learning those digital skills and connecting with our members and finding jobs and building part of the ecosystem of New York City's future, if not the country's future. The theory behind this place essentially is that unless we change the color of the faces of the people designing the future will look like the present. And to make that happen, we have to be deliberate, and we have to create new pieces of civic infrastructure to make that happen. And so this is not just a digital skills training center, it is a new type of 21st century community center. I hope I'm not going to live long enough or get gray enough to build any more of these places, but I hope people copy it and learn from it. And I invite you to join us as members, as to come for events, to come with your ideas. This place was built for you. It wasn't built for an organization. It was built for people who care about making the world a better place. And with that, I'm so grateful that we're here for a year anniversary. And one last thing, this place could not have happened without the support of many, many people. But the capstone of this, getting this place built, financially getting it done, was having the privilege of meeting Pat Goldstein, who heard about Civic Hall, originally came to just maybe give a little bit of money, and ultimately gave us enough money to for us to be able to say, we got it done. Thank you, Pat. Thank you so much. And with that, we're going to give you a little bit of a taste of what a New York Tech Meetup is like. So I'd like to introduce you to my colleague and my friend and the executive director of the New York Tech Alliance, Doug Benet.
Okay, hey everyone, I'm Doug, director of the New York Tech Alliance, and thanks for being with us tonight in this most fancy meetup we've ever had. I don't think we've ever had flowers on the table. So let's see, before we get started, I have a few things to share with you. Please know that we record our events and share it with anyone unable to attend this evening. Recordings are posted on the Tech Alliance YouTube channel, and you can subscribe to it by going to youtube.com/NYTechAlliance. For anyone joining us for the first time, the New York Tech Alliance is a nonprofit serving the tech community here in NYC and the region. At the core of our mission, we drive diversity, equity, and inclusion to make the New York Tech ecosystem the most diverse and dynamic in the world. And we help lower barriers and increase access to the information, knowledge, and resources that people need to grow and thrive. Big thanks to our annual sponsors who help make events like this one possible. Each has a presence on our website, and you can learn more about them and how they support our community by going to nytech.org/sponsors. And we already know that many of you here tonight are here for the first time. So for all of you first-timers, our meetups are all about the tech and the market opportunities each company is addressing. It's not about the business or revenue models. So those conversations can be had afterwards and elsewhere. So during the Q&A, following each demo, please keep the questions focused on the tech and the problem or opportunity it's addressing. Otherwise, you're likely to get booed, okay? All right. So I have two last items. One, we love and welcome support to help us produce and deliver our programming. 3 ways you can help include attend as many events as you can, become an individual or corporate member or annual sponsor, or make a donation. You can do so by going to nytech.org/support_NYTA. And we're always curious about what's on your mind. Your opinions, your thoughts, your recommendations, and feedback are all welcome. You can easily do so by scanning the Giotto QR code on the screen. It's super easy. There's nothing to download, and you can provide answers in video, voice, or text. We also have a Giotto word cloud up on the wall tonight, and tonight's question is, what's your favorite memory of Civic Hall, Civic Hall's first year in Union Square? So if you'd like to contribute and see new thoughts appear on the wall, please do. All right, with that, let the demos begin. And in keeping with tonight's celebration, we have some amazing companies and people from our community here at Civic Hall. Each company will have up to 4 minutes to demo, up to 4 minutes of audience Q&A, and a minute or two to pose and ask or offer. So first up, we have Katie Moylan of Quill. Quill's mission is to help tens of millions of low-income students become strong writers, readers, and critical thinkers. Katie, come on up. And you get the mic there. Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's such a joy to be here tonight. My name is Katie Moylan. I am the Social Studies Curriculum Director at Quill.org. And tonight I'll be talking to you a bit about how we are approaching the challenge of ensuring that every student in every classroom has access to strong writing instruction. Got too excited to talk to y'all. So we are a nonprofit committed to supporting students as they grow into strong readers, writers, and critical thinkers. And we support these students through AI-powered tools that are open educational resources. What this means is our tools are free for students and teachers, and we are committed to them remaining free in perpetuity. We offer a variety of tools, from ones that support the basic building blocks of writing, language skills, to diagnostics, to our newest tool, which I'll be demoing for you tonight, Quill Reading for Evidence. So this is the problem we are trying to solve. Students, by and large, are not getting the writing instruction that they need. 88% of low-income students are not proficient in basic writing skills as of the latest NAEP report. And we know that students need practice and meaningful feedback in order to grow as writers. We also know teachers are spread too thin. And giving that feedback, giving those practice opportunities is time-consuming and resource-intensive, and those are things teachers don't have. So with our tools, we aim to provide these practice opportunities and the custom feedback that students need to continue developing as writers. So the tool I'm about to show you is called Reading for Evidence. And with Reading for Evidence, students are given a short text on a high-interest topic. They read the text, and they are asked to then write about what they have just read, using the text to create an evidence-based claim. As they write, they're prompted to improve their writing with custom feedback that is responsive to whatever they decide to write. So with a text like this, we often see students write very vague things. So listening to a coral reef can help scientists because there are differences in the sounds. That's true, but that's very vague, and we want students to be more precise. So that's what our feedback tells them. We give them a guiding question, and we acknowledge what they've written. We see a small improvement here with the student saying healthy and unhealthy reefs have their own sound, but they've made a similar kind of error. They're not specific enough. So this time we cue them to a specific part of the text where they'll find the evidence they need, and we also give them a more direct guiding question to improve their writing. Then, once they have written the most precise sentence they can, they're able to move on to the next writing prompt. So far, each year, we provide feedback for hundreds of millions of sentences. We have supported 9 million total students to date, 6 million of whom are in Title I, often underserved or underrepresented communities. We served 2.8 million students in the last year alone, and all of this is in service of our goal of supporting 10 million low-income students over the next 5 years. So that is Reading for Evidence in a nutshell. I would love any questions that you have and would be delighted to connect with any of you who would like to chat more afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I'm just curious to know how you measure the success of the training or of the education of the students.
That's a wonderful question. So we do that in a couple of ways. First, we can look at students' practice over time and see how they're growing, particularly with our grammar tools. We can see those leaps and bounds. With students who use the diagnostics, for example, we can see between their pre and post assessment the growth they've made. Bigger picture, particularly with respect to developing our AI, we are in student sessions constantly. Our curriculum team is actually responsible for a lot of our AI development, and they are all former teachers. And so we spend more hours than I could count at this point, just reading what students have written, seeing if they're getting what they need, and seeing how their writing changes over time.
At what age do they start to start this program?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, so sorry.
We'll come right back. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah. At what age are they starting the writing?
Yes, we primarily serve students in grades 4 through 12, but we do have some college level users as well.
Hi. How do you attract these students to come? Why you're talking to us? Are you in the schools? I mean, how do I know about this? I mean, it sounds so exciting, but who else knows about it but the in-group?
Yeah.
If you don't know quill.com.
That's a wonderful question. So we work with schools and districts to roll out the program, but honestly, most of our users have joined through word of mouth from other teachers who have begun using the tool.
Yeah, I'm curious what sorts of LLM models you're using to kind of drive this. I'm curious what kinds of LLM models you're using to drive the product.
Excellent question. So at this point, we are working primarily with Gemini. We have done some experimentation with GPT as well, and honestly, we are constantly iterating on our product to see where we're going to be able to best support students and what models are going to give us the best results.
So would you work with other nonprofits who have a similar mission in teaching?
Yes, we would and do. We are actually currently working on an AI offering with AI EDU to support their curriculum. We also have a partnership with the OER project. They do social studies curricula, and we are developing activities that go alongside their world history courses. So yes, we love working with other nonprofits, specifically those who are dedicated to democratizing access.
Wonderful. And I'm curious, the demo you showed, does that get recorded so they can see it after and see the progress and the process, not just the progress, but the process of it?
Yes, teachers have access to all of the sentences their students write, as well as the feedback that they receive.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here. So writing is more creative, right? You read something and you're based on your experience. This seems to be more prescriptive, right? And how do you get the students now to let go and become that creative, to read something and then with their own voices, right, instead of it being prescriptive?
Before joining Quill, I taught for over 7 years, and this question makes me very happy because that is the question. We, at this point, are focusing on nonfiction writing to help students build sentence fundamentals more than anything else. From there, we want to branch into extended writing so that students can take these building blocks they've developed and do that more creative expression so their ideas are communicated very clearly and very accessibly to their audience. So creative writing is down the road for us, but it is something we care tremendously about. And in developing our models, we work hard to ensure that we're not pushing students to write the exact same thing every time, which involves looking at many student responses and ensuring that our data sets contain as much variety as we possibly can.
What is your theory of adjudicating critical thinking?
I don't think I have that much time. No, I think this is a tough question, to be very honest, because I think you ask me on a different day, you might get a different answer. As an organization, what we're looking for when we're thinking about critical thinking is, are students able to put factual statements together that show that they're synthesizing what they're reading? So one of the ways we do that in this particular tool is students cannot copy. They cannot quote. And so at this point, that's our first step, right? We're seeing, are we paraphrasing? Are we putting those pieces together? And from that point, as we continue to develop and branch into more extended writing pieces, I think we will be digging into that question further, because I'm not sure there's a single right answer, but it's a very important question.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have an ask offer for the audience?
Yes, so my ask is, if you are doing related work, if you're interested in the work we're doing, we would love to connect with you or connect with anyone that you know who works in adjacent to K-12 education. The offer that I have is, we are approaching generative AI with a lot of caution and a lot of thoughtfulness. And I would love to speak with you about how we are working to develop AI with an ethical and equitable mindset at the forefront of that work.
Very good. Thank you, Katie.
Thank you all.
Big round of applause. Okay, and next up, we have Jeff Paul, CEO and co-founder of Ziotag. Ziotag is the generative AI-powered accessible video platform that makes the information contained within video and audio content accessible for everyone, including those people with visual, hearing, and neurological disabilities. Welcome, Jeff.
Wow, Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Before I start, I just want to address things that Andrew and Jim and Pat spoke about, because my company started because I was sitting in the back of the room watching these meetups that were often very long, an hour and a half, 2 hours long. And then I would go back and want to watch it and find a piece of information inside there, and I couldn't do it. So starting in 2019, we built an AI platform that will analyze a video and create a table of contents with chapters and summaries and key concepts on it, so that everybody can find the information that's in there, including people with vision, hearing, and learning disabilities. But everybody benefits from it. So because of places like Civic Hall, New York Tech Alliance, Disruptive Technologists is another one, that gave us the inspiration and helped put together the relationships we needed to bring this product to market. So thank you very much. It's good. So anyway, so we've all been there. We have long format videos. There's way more video than it can ever possibly consume in the world, and it's out there. And there's a lot of good information in there, and we've always scrubbing, looking for a piece of information inside that video, and you move the little radio head forward, and then you've gone too far, then you go back, and things like that. And if it's an hour and a half, 2 hour long video, it's very frustrating. And sometimes, went the wrong way. Sometimes people just give up and say, that's just too much for me. There's got to be a better way. When Gutenberg invented the printing press, 6 months later, somebody built a table of contents around it. And we have table of contents in textbooks and websites and things like that. Why don't we have them for videos? That's just ridiculous. And for us able-bodied people, it's hard. If you have a disability, it's 10 times harder if you don't have the table of contents in it. So we serve that market as well. By the way, we have a relationship with Doug and the New York Tech Alliance people. We have processed a year's worth of video, put it in our gallery, so that when Doug's ready, he'll expose you to it, so you can consume it that way. And so let's do the before. The before is, it's a long format video. There's no chapters. There's no summaries. It's difficult to find. It's really, it's not very user-friendly. You would think in 2024 there would be a better reason to do it. I mean, it's almost 18 years since YouTube was built. Why don't they have chapters? Doesn't make any sense. And no executive summaries. Finally, with our platform, which is a SaaS platform built on Google Cloud, we process a video. 1 hour video takes us about 5 minutes to process. And then we generate a table of contents with chapters, titles, summaries, key concepts on it, entirely searchable, shareable. When you get to an hour and 12 minutes, you can say, oh, I want to send this to my friend, or I want to put this on LinkedIn, or put it out on, well, nobody does Twitter anymore, but they put it out on whatever their social platform is. So it's really simple to do. The player itself is very scalable. You can make the video small, the table of contents big, depending on what you're looking for. If you use a screen reader, if you have vision disability, the screen reader can toggle through the table of contents and read out the chapter summaries to you, so you can decide, do I want to spend my time on it or not? If you have a hearing issue, you can look at the chapters and then decide which chapters you want. Then you can flip to the transcript and you can read it that way. And if you have attention deficit, neurological things, you need the structure of the table of contents to stay focused on it. We also take all that information that we generate and we produce what we call Zio notes, or executive summaries in it. Back in the day, it would be Cliff Notes. No, we don't call it Cliff Notes because we would get sued. So imagine we call them detailed executive summaries of any video that you have. So if you don't have time to watch the video from last month was robotics, I don't have an hour and a half to watch it, but I need the detailed executive summary on it, then I can do it. And if I'm really interested in it, I can use the hot links and then I can click on it from there. We have a gallery in By the end of the year, this will be made public when Doug's ready to do it. But there's all of the meetups from this year and some from last year are in there. So you can search you can search a video, you can search an entire gallery. So one of our sponsors that's been here for a long time is Paul Ellis. You know, so you want to see, I want to see every time Paul Ellis talked about convertible notes. You can search on it, and then we search the entire gallery. We say, oh, you know what? In June of 2018, he gave a presentation, and it's at this video at this moment in time. Then you can watch it. So we do things faster, smarter, and easier to do it. We have a special offer. Anybody from the New York Tech Alliance can get a starter pack of Ziotag. It's $99 a month for it. And you get all of the functionality that we have, make it available. So I'm available for your questions. Thank you. Hello?
Thank you so much for the presentation. So I run a community called Baddies in Tech, and we have a conference here. And a lot of the times we do events and we do online workshops and things like that. So my question is, if I were to use this software for our community, and I like the way that New York Tech Alliance is using it, is this embeddable into our website, for example, or a central place where our community can just go and watch all the replays versus kind of going to Ziotag?
Yeah, no, so we would give you a URL to our gallery. You would embed the URL in your website, and they would go to your website to find it. So it's running from mine, but it's completely embedded within your organization. Okay, good.
Yes, again, thank you. And hi over here. Just stand up. Hi. So I'm interested on the more technical side,
Sure.
as far as how are you judging the accessibility factors. I know that, say, like for a React library built on JavaScript, technically, it can help for web applications to recognize a certain level of accessibility that's available and certified. So how do you do that within your application?
Sure. So actually, it's the customers themselves told us it. Our first education customer was North Carolina State. It was the Genetic Engineering Society, the people who mapped the gene back in the 90s. And they have about 800 hours of very technical, greatest minds in genetics, talking about their work. So they were manually tagging their videos. It was painful. So they found us, and we did a deal. And we had to get certified by the accessibility group at University of North Carolina. And so we did it. We met this woman, this very bright woman, and she said, this is really cool. Can you make these couple of changes for us? And I said, yeah, of course, we'll do that. And we went back to her about 2 weeks later with the changes she asked for. And then she said, oh my God. And this is all via Zoom. And I'm thinking, oh man, my deal just went in the toilet. I said, oh my God, what? And she said, this is unbelievable for people with disabilities. I said, well, why is that? And she said, because if you're blind, you're using a screen reader and you're listening to an hour and a half video. And if you're deaf, you're reading the transcript and you have attention deficit. You need the structure of the table of contents on it to do it. So with that, I took it to the Access Board, which is the federal agency that issues the regulations for what's accessible, what's not accessible. And I'm a salesman, and so I made my calls at 7:30 in the morning. Every morning I call 20 companies. And by noon, I got a call back from the Access Board, and they said, we're really interested in what you have. Can you show it to us? So by 3 o'clock, I was on a webinar with the head of accessibility. The gentleman happened to be deaf. So we're doing our thing. And he said, this is really something else. We have not seen anything like this. I said, oh, good. And then he said, it's really good for blind, it's really good for deaf, it's really good for people with neurological He said, you know, Jeff, you don't have to have a disability to like your product. So I kind of laughed and I said, thank you very much from there. So, you know, our customers have validated it. You know, we've working on getting our VPAT in place. It's a economic issue. It's about $25,000 to get that done. But hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you very much.
Sure.
We'll take one more. This I don't know if this is a good question. So if a user signs up, can they just provide any video that they have to your platform and you'll, you know, systematically build it all out?
Yes, so today we work on Vimeo, Kaltura, and YouTube. Most of our customers use YouTube. So, by the way, you don't have to own the video to use us. You can watch, you know, a particular speech, things like that, that you're really interested in, but you don't have 2 hours to watch it. And you can run the Zio notes over it, and then read about it, or watch it if you like it. But almost all of our customers use it on their YouTube channels. Is that helpful?
Yeah, helpful. Thank you. Sounds like a good way to watch a bad Giant game.
Oh, boy, yeah. You know, I was at a conference in Washington, a podcaster conference in Washington, during the Democratic convention. So I didn't see any of the speeches. So what I did is in the morning when I was having my coffee, I ran the Zio notes on the speeches from the night before. And by the time I was done with my coffee, I got a really good sense for who said what, things like that. And I did it for the Republicans as well. There's nothing special about that. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
I'm right up here. You know, feel free to stop by and talk. Thanks, man.
Thank you. All right. So next up, we've got, let's get the clicker going here. We've got Dmitry Sagalovsky, Paul Fitzpatrick, and George Gavoin of Grist. Grist is an open source spreadsheet database hybrid built for productivity and collaboration. All right, where are you guys? There you are. Hey, welcome.
Hello. I'm also excited to be here, and I'm here to talk about Grist. I need that little thing that switches the slide. So there's 1 billion people who use tools like spreadsheets. Many of them use them every day. Used to be you'd work on your desktop in Excel. A lot of people still do, but for modern collaboration, people prefer cloud tools like Google Sheets or Airtable, Notion, and many others. But in moving to the cloud, there is something we lost along the way, and that's data ownership, privacy, and control of our data. And in a time when data is increasingly being commoditized, whether for monetization or to train the next big AI model, it's more important than ever that we keep full control of our data. And for many organizations, they have data that's unacceptable to put in the cloud. So how do we keep the best parts of modern spreadsheets but claw back the ownership and trust? We have an answer. It's called Grist. It is a tool that's part spreadsheet, part database, part no-code application builder. It's open source. It runs everywhere, not only in the cloud. You can run and host it on your own servers. You can run it on your desktop as a desktop app. There is no data lock-in. Your data is stored in a fully portable format based on SQL 8. And it has a access rules feature to allow you to control data that you share, that you collaborate on, down to a row or a cell. It's a very powerful and flexible feature. You'll see it in the demo. And so I'll make a bold claim that's the best collaborative spreadsheet for sensitive data. Grist already has thousands of users, including some large organizations. The largest today is the French government. They run a sovereign suite of software called La Suite Numérique for public servants. And Grist is a key tool in that suite. They call it the jewel, or as I like to translate it, the crown jewel. In fact, they're such fans of Grist, they organized, helped us organize the Grist Paris Summit. So we're going to be in Paris in 2 weeks. If any of you are in Paris in 2 weeks, let me know. I'll send you an invitation. And with that, I'll turn it over to George to do a live demo.
Great. Hi, everybody. So this is a Grist document. Here we have a table of company expenses with columns for things like dates, amounts, and attachments like receipts. Some Wi-Fi issues. One moment. There we go. We also support formulas. You can use regular Excel-style formulas using functions, and we also support Python, the most popular language for data science. Grist can also summarize my tables for me. For example, here's a summary of expenses by month, department, and employee. I can view them as tables or charts, and as I click from month to month, the summaries update dynamically, showing me just the data for the selected month. Grist also supports powerful access controls. I can control access to individual tables, columns, rows, all the way down to individual cells. This is a quick demo of Grist. Feel free to stop by our table, and we're happy to show you more. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we can show you more later. We thought we had less time. I think George had some more to show. So we only got to show you a little bit. Grist has a lot of features. Since this is a lot of tech-savvy people here, there's a slide with more techie features that should interest you. The Grist has Python formulas, Excel-like formulas, as George showed, REST API, Formula Assistant for those who don't want to learn formulas, or even for people who do because it's faster sometimes. Forms, webhooks, conditional formatting, integrates with things like Zapier and NYTM, custom widgets that allow extending it, and many other features. We actually were here once before at New York Tech Meetup 4 years ago, before the pandemic, when we had a lot of the spreadsheet features, because it took us a long time to build a product that's really competitive with Excel and Google Sheets. But a lot of the stuff that you see today with access rules and self-hosted and the fact that it's open source, that's all happened more recently and kind of the appeal to large organizations. So that's where Grist is today, and we encourage you to check it out. Ask and offer?
You can do that. And
or
then go
questions
to
and answers first.
Let's go to Q&A.
Yes. So how about
Anybody
I
have
invite
any
George and
questions
Paul
for,
here on stage so we can take turns answering
right.
questions.
Can you export a document to Excel from Grist? Sorry.
Yes, you can.
All right.
Okay, do we have any other questions? We got right here. Two right here.
I think similar follow-up question to that, like if somebody wanted to, they have a lot of data on Excel and they wanted to switch over to Grist completely, is there a transfer process that you guys use to make that easy?
So you can import an Excel file. You can import directly from Google Sheets. Typically, the difficulty isn't in one file. The difficulty is in figuring out the better workflow and how to move your whole workflow, how to figure the hard parts are when people don't really even understand what in the Excel files. It's hard to make that easy. That's not what we focus on. We do help customers move their workflows into Grist. Part of it is designing new one. Part of it is figuring out what's they've been doing, because a lot of the time that's kind of where the big mess is to untangle.
Hi. Is there a limit to the number of rows you can have? How does it compare to other tools like, I can't think of it, NoSQL databases and stuff like that? How does it compare to those in terms of speed and records, or is that the wrong comparison?
It's a reasonable question.
Yeah, so we're comfortable with hundreds of thousands of rows. The underlying technology is SQLite, which is very comfortable with many, many rows. We have like limits in what the browser can do. We have limits on the back end. I'm glad that Dimitri handed this over to me to talk about, because he's actually quietly in the background making version 2 of our data engine, which will remove current limitations we have. Yeah, so hundreds of thousands, no problem. Beyond that, you'll have to like scale up the host you're running on. But we offer a SaaS, we offer self-hosted, so you can scale up as much as you need to.
So just to follow up, is it best to replace a database or best to replace a spreadsheet? What would you think it's more analogous to?
It's for the kinds of projects that are most natural, it's like spreadsheet level. If you're like not actually looking at any of the rows ever, then it's probably not the right place to work. Like if you're dealing with bulk data, millions and millions of rows, then it's not quite the right place yet.
Okay.
Hi, can you tell us more about your customers and their typical use cases and why they chose Grist over some of your other competitors that you listed on the slide?
Customers.
Yeah, so a lot of Grist customers are individuals, like for spreadsheets, but really mostly it's small businesses or people using it for work. It's been very hard for us to kind of define, to pick out an audience, because people use it for many different things. Same as with spreadsheets, people use many different things. Definitely common to use it for project management or keep track of customers or marketing campaigns or materials, numbers, transactions, accounting, auditors, all kinds of different use cases. The places where in a lot of those cases, actually, the reason people go for Grist, so there are several reasons. People switching from Excel, they're looking for something more structured and more convenient to collaborate with. They might also choose Airtable. It's also like more structured database. So for people coming from Airtable, there are also people switching from Airtable to Grist. We're quite happy about that, because Grist has more functionality around kind of data analysis. You can have charts, you can have formulas, you can calculate things kind of, it's more naturally like you can in Excel. It's very good at calculating things. And then what's really been helping us as a business more recently is the fact that for larger organizations that have complex workflows, and especially they have sensitive data that they don't want to put in the cloud, they want to have control of it. None of the modern collaborative tools really offer that. So Google Sheets, you cannot run it on your own servers or behind your firewall, not Airtable, not Notion. There's very little out there, but Grist you can. And in addition, like for sensitive data, it becomes important. You have different stakeholders. Not everybody should see all the data in your spreadsheet. Sometimes, different departments see different things, or, some people have privileges to see stuff that other people shouldn't, and Grist has features for that. So like the use cases for in the French government, that's kind of why they chose Grist. Most competitors don't have anything like this, and it really allows you to streamline some workflows that would be very inconvenient otherwise.
Okay. Thanks, Dimitri. We're at time, so we're going to go to the Ask Offer, and you can ask more questions afterwards.
Yeah, some more questions, please come to us. We'll be around. I have two asks. One is this conference in Paris. It's going to have public servants talking about how their use case, how they improve their workflows with Grist. If you know of anybody in Paris who should be interested in the conference, come find me later. I'd like to invite them. The second ask is think about your own workflows. If there's something you think could be improved with Grist, maybe something your organization does using spreadsheets and is painful. I am here. I'm part of the community. My offer is I would like to help you do it, figure it out. So that's it.
Okay. Thanks, Dimitri. Thanks, guys. Good job. Jim, you started this. There's my glasses. All right. So thanks again, Dimitri. And next up, we have Girish Chigani, CEO of Stralto. Stralto simplifies public sector governance through advanced cloud-based solutions. Welcome.
Thank you. So I'm here to talk about our new product that we're getting ready to launch. It's a digital ID verification system called Verified. Having worked for New York City government for 14 years under the Bloomberg administration, and then spending the last 7 years working with various cities, states, and counties across the US, one of the challenges that we keep seeing and dealing with on a regular basis is around digital ID verification, or just ID verification in general. There is digital verification out there. There's vendors who do this, but data ownership is a big issue. These vendors own the data. Government doesn't have any control over it. Citizens don't have any control over it. It's expensive to implement. It's expensive to maintain. These systems are also not that flexible to integrate with, and there's no added value after that. You do the verification, and that's it. And because of that, it's just been low adoption in cities, states, counties. And because of that, manual verification is still prevalent, and we know what the issues with that are. It's, we're losing millions of dollars every day because of identity theft. There is programs that are just, a lot of money is getting wasted that could be put to better use. These processes are time consuming, physical or online. There's issues with accessibility, there's scalability issues. So there's a lot of different issues. I think if you can solve these 4 challenges here, fraud prevention, if you can bring some kind of speed to value, if you have flexible data ownership, and you can work on the accessibility challenge, we can actually take ID verification and bring high adoption to it. So our solution Verified, first and foremost, we're SOC 2 compliant. We have, the system is built with security in mind from the get-go. It's only open to public sector. It's hosted in the Azure Gov Cloud, so the highest level of security you can get in the cloud. Strict domain ownership verification. Our, by the way, sorry, is the video supposed to play? It's not. I'm supposed to press. Is there something to press on it or no? Sorry about that, guys. Okay. I'm not sure what happened, the video isn't. So this is the speed to value. You can get started with our solution in a matter of hours. You just need to configure the page and you can start verifying IDs. You can take it to the next level, add a widget to your web app and use webhooks to quickly integrate with your backend systems. You can also use it as an OpenID Connect authentication system. So it could be a passwordless biometrics system. instead of using Facebook or X or whatnot, we also have a reader you can use to take in QR codes or do facial recognition like Clear to give citizens access using to physical resources. And decentralized identity, if that's enabled, a user can just have all their data in their own pocket and use it anywhere that accepts it. We offer flexible data ownership options, centralized, where government owns the data, but even that, there's flexibility. It could be PII data or not PII data. For example, for a lot of systems, you actually don't need to know the birth date, just the age. There's decentralized, where the government doesn't even own the data. The citizen owns the data, and they can take it anywhere to any jurisdiction. Let's say I got verified in city of New York, but I can take it to the state of Virginia and use it to prove my identity for some online or physical system. 132 languages are supported right off the bat. Automatically does the whole verification process in the language of the user's device preferred language. So if the device language is Chinese, it will do the entire verification process, including email in Chinese, ADA compliant. We also have a module that does assisted verification. So specialists from agencies can remotely assist minors and individuals because of disability or they're elderly to actually perform online verifications and get hooked into the whole biometric system. I don't know, the videos didn't play for some reason, Doug, so. Yeah, so that was it. If you guys have any questions. Thank you.
How do you guys differentiate from like ID.me?
The biggest difference is data ownership. ID.me owns your data. We're also cheaper. The data ownership is a big deal in government and with citizens. We've seen, that's why you see the low adoption rates. So ID.me runs irs.gov, for example, but the feds don't own that data. Also, you can't really reuse this data anywhere else. So the verification got done, now it's sitting somewhere, and so our whole mantra is to make it decentralized in a way that can be used across the board. It will not only help out the citizens, but it will also bring the cost of verifications down substantially. So I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah.
All right, we've got one right here.
Girish, thank you.
Yeah.
As more and more instances of biometric identification starting to happen with, as you go through the airport and other places, how does your product integrate with biometrics?
So we are mostly facial. So if you think about Clear, and I know ID.me is probably doing this as well, but we use your Azure AI search, and it's a very powerful tool that has helped us really be very accurate with our facial recognition engine. So just like Clear, you could be walking, and if you're in front of an Android device or iOS device or some kind of tablet that's running our system, we can quickly identify you. And we have webhook integration where you can easily integrate with any system. It could be a physical turnstile, or it could be an online system, and you can pretty much control those actions to do airport kind of security if needed. I don't know if that answers your question, or. Yeah, so
people are
yeah,
afraid of biometric because that data is being held by the government, right? So.
Well, that's why the decentralized identity comes in, where your device actually holds your data. Government doesn't own your data. It doesn't have your data. So what it does is you take a picture, and then you verify on your own phone, and the government just gets, hey, this person is verified. They're the right person. They are who they say are, without actually government owning the data. That's where the decentralized identity comes in. And it's a W3C standard now, and they're pushing hard on that. What do you think?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. We got one more? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I believe you just touched on this, but again, thinking of decentralized and the confirmation that you just gave as far as the compliance, is there a degree of like blockchain certificates that are being used or an equivalency in order to store or save that data in some, not the data itself, but a link to that data? Like you say it's on the phone and it's storing that information, but how is it, in what format is it being stored that you can also integrate it with other applications and technologies?
Right, so the decentralized identity is really just stored in the person's device. It's not being stored anywhere else. And the way decentralized works is it has to be enabled on on the system that is going to be accepting this ID, and it just kicks off the process and just comes back and says this person is verified, and the person can decide what they want to choose, what they want to actually share. So it's really sitting on the person's device. That's decentralized. The centralized identity actually is stored on a government's Azure blob storage or their storage account. That's where it's all stored. The descriptors, and that's also, there's different levels you can do with it. Non-PII would just have a descriptor of the face, for example. But in some cases, and we see this a lot because we do a lot of citizen assistance programs all over America, and it is actually required to have a copy of a driver's license, for example. So it would also store that, but only in that centralized option, the agency who's actually doing the verification owns the data and has the data. I don't know if that answers your question or.
Yeah, to a degree. If I want to follow up,
I
can
yeah,
speak to
we
you
can
later,
follow up
yeah.
later. But yeah.
All right,
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Garish.
Yeah, thank you.
Garish, do you have an ask offer for?
Yeah, we're just getting ready to launch. So, and we're already talking to some government agencies. But if you guys have someone in mind who could actually use this, so the offer is we're ready to do a lot of POCs and pilots pro bono. So if you guys have someone in mind, let us know. And yeah, just support our vision. If you guys can look at our system, think of some ideas that can help us, our system better. So we're looking for partners on that end.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have Holly Diamond and, oops, sorry, I am on the wrong, what? This is craziness. Okay. Next up is Holly Diamond, founder and CEO, and Bhargav Sutaria, Chief Product Officer at WorkOnward. WorkOnward connects hourly talent with small businesses in a local and neighborhood-friendly way using a map-based job platform. Welcome, guys. All right. There you go.
I need one more microphone for.
Oh, okay.
Bhargav, let's go on stage. Happy first year anniversary Civic Hall. We're probably one of the youngest startup here, so we're young and crazy. Are you ready? My name is Holly Diamond. I'm a CEO and the founder of WorkOnward. This is my co-founder, Bhargav Sutaria. We're building an inclusive hiring platform that using with the AI for small businesses and local talent. Do we have a clicker? Young and stupid. That's us. Thank you. Oh, okay. I'm going to talk about the problem here. This is angry-looking Jerry. Jerry owns a pizzeria in a midtown, and he's been operating the business about 20 years. And his server didn't show up. He called the server. Let's call him Tom. Tom doesn't pick up the phone. Jerry has to work overnight shift because he has nobody to cover. And this is not just Jerry. almost 80% of small businesses having difficulties with the staffings and turnover issues. So why a recruiter like me, who's been working for companies like Adecco for 10 years, decided to build a recruiting agency, ended up building a recruiting software? Well, it's because I own the restaurant. I actually opened up this restaurant called the Mr. O, named after my dad, and opened up this restaurant for them in the middle of a pandemic. And the situation I just talked about, Jerry, it happened to my parents. When that situation happened, my mom got so frustrated. So she was asking me to bring a pen and paper. And she started writing down, help wanted, we need a cashier. So as a recruiter, I was looking at my mom writing down, and I scream at her, Oma, in Korean, mom in Korean, Oma. I asked her, how would the people even know that we are hiring in the middle of pandemic? It's December 2020, and the snowstorms coming in New York, nobody's walking around the street. That became the birthplace of WorkOnward.
Hello. To address that problem, we built a platform where small businesses can post jobs on the map to attract potential local candidates. And also, right now, we are integrating AI voice recognition features that allow local businesses to create a job using their voice. So they can speak, and our AI will create a post that they can post on the map, and they would able to connect with local candidates. And another innovation which we are introducing is Wow Resume, which incorporate audio, visuals, and text-based information about the candidates, so a hiring person can evaluate candidates' information more quickly and accurate.
That's right. We're really focused on the skill-based hiring. A lot of times, this is the part-time hourly workers' resume. When you have this 100% text-based information, you can't really talk about the skill. You can talk about your language, your personality, your passions, why you're applying this job. So we wanted to utilizing with a multimodal AI to really highlight for the digital portfolio.
And not only for local businesses, but for the job seekers who can search jobs using their voice command as well. So here, the character we call as Wow AI, they can click on voice audio features, and they can ask for, can you find me construction jobs near me? So we would show their job list on our platform.
It's just like a Siri asking for, hey, I need to, wow man, can you find me a bartender jobs near me? And then the wow man would navigate and see all the local job listings. So people like my parents don't have to post the jobs and then putting on the storefront window. And we're building the future of work. We believe the future of work is inclusive, accessible, that everybody deserves to have a job, including my parents who are first-generation immigrants and they couldn't speak the language. That's the reason why I opened up the restaurant for my parents, to secure their job opportunities. For immigrants, for women, for minorities, for refugees, for older adults, veterans, we all need a place to have a job. And that's us.
Hi.
Hello.
Over here. So just question, are you familiar with the company Winolo? They kind of do something, are you familiar with them?
I'm not.
Yeah. Okay, they do something similar. So I guess what I'm trying to understand here specifically is for the small businesses that you're serving, is this just manufacturing, food and beverage type setups, or if a jewelry store needs a manager, are those the type of roles you'd also find here?
Great question. A lot of companies, they really focus on the vertical SaaS. They focus on either the hospitality sectors only or the manufacturing sectors only. We really emphasize it for the inclusive workforce placement. So, for everybody, especially for they're looking for a job in a local, so I guess one of the key differentiation that I would mention is that we're hyper-local hiring platforms that connects with the local businesses to the local talent. And I actually wanted to point out one more thing. As we walk into this auditorium, Craig Newmark, he was a really true inspiration for us to build our product. And there's a lot of players out there. There's a lot of HR tech companies and competitors out there. I know it is a saturated market. The biggest question is a lot of small businesses, including my parents, they still struggle to find the people.
Hey, super cool product that you all are building. I'm curious if there's translation involved in the app as well, because I imagine a lot of these folks who need help don't speak English very well.
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Yeah. Sure. I'm asking if there is, in the voice AI, if there's translation ability as well. So if somebody has a job to describe but they don't speak English very well, they can still describe it in their own native language and then have it translated.
For now, we are testing only in English language, but later we would add the Spanish and all major language in our platform. So this one is not right now integrated with our platform, but right now it's in test mode.
So,
but yeah, we are trying to make more accuracy in terms of finding the jobs and translating. So first, once we have enough accuracy in English language, then we would move forward with different language.
And I can add on to that too. When you go to WorkOnward.com, you will see the language features. So we, without the voice AI, we really need to test it with a machine learning algorithm to increase accuracy starting from the English. But you're absolutely right. Here in New York, over 50% of the people speak more than English. So, implementing to the Spanish, Chinese, French, Korean, and any other language is absolutely crucial. For our current version that we have on the website, that you would click and change the language translations.
Hi, very impressive. Are you considering, or do you already have any white label options or an API where somebody can build a community on top of what you're offering?
Absolutely. So that's a great question. The answer is no, not yet. We're a very early stage startup company, but as we were doing this demo, we have a Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that reached out to us, and they said, this is a really, really cool. We want to have a white label. How much? And they're asking, how much is this? And we don't have a price tag yet. So if you have any insight, please let us know. So we'll be happy to sell the white label service.
Up here, please.
I've got a mic, so I'm going to go ahead. You showed a resume builder kind of feature for prospective employees to use to show their skills. How is that built on one's cell phone? How does one build that, and how intuitive is it? You also mentioned older people using it, and I can imagine a lot of older people kind of struggling with that sort of feature.
That's absolutely a great question. That's one of the reasons why, as we observe how my parents are using the mobile, or older using the mobile phone, they actually, the Facebook to Instagram, there's a lot of people and older adults are using the technology. So the voice AI would really enhance them to build a digital resume. So let's say if you are retired citizen and you want to looking for a cashier job. Matter of fact, when you go into Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, a lot of people who are working in the cashiers are older adults. And so, there's two strong elements that we really really wanted to build the impact. First of all, is that for the older adults who are not savvy with the technology, they use voice AI, and we're building their digital portfolio. Let's say I'm looking for a cashier job nearby my neighborhood. I'm looking for maybe part-time position because I need to spend some time with my granddaughter. So they will building up the digital portfolio for them. Is personalized and customized, so you don't have to rely on their past 10 years, 20 years ago resume. Second thing, for the older adults, one of the key crucial thing is vicinity. They need to work in a local community. It's not just for getting job and getting paid, but also they're contributing and giving back to the community.
Yeah. Also, I would like to mention, as for the older people, so we show the digital resume which allow user to upload their voice. So to uploading voice, it's more for the understanding the people speaks in different language or not. So employer can understand from the resume with WorkOnward profile that they can have quickly decision to evaluate the candidate. And we observe older people only interacting with technology is by texting and calling. So we are trying to implement all similar features related to text. Using their text and the voice features, they can create their profile. So all they need to give command by voice and text. So we would help them. And for some of so we have different target of users who want to show their skills by photos or videos. So that's why we allowing them to upload their pictures and videos, so employer have more accuracy to hire candidate, and they can see the skills.
All right. One more question.
Okay. This is a little off course here, but I must tell you, a lot of this is not something I necessarily understand since I'm not a techie. But I must tell you that what you are doing sounds so valuable, but you are fabulous. And you probably have lots of competition, but if I were interested in your helping me and there were 5 others, I would go to you. I think you're fabulous.
Thank you. Okay, thanks. Do you have an offer?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Pat. It made our hard work just worth it for acknowledgement from the supporters and people like you. And that goes for our ask too. We're raising. We need investors who really believe in our missions. And our second ask that we need is we wanted to have partners.
Yeah, partners, because we are helping low income people to skill up their like basic skills like education related to mathematical literacy. So we would like to have partner either in using AI that can help person to guide them to build a career roadmap and show them related videos and text-based information which help low income to skill there, and we can place them on our platform.
Okay, thank you so much. Great job. Yeah. Good. Here. Okay, and so we've got one last demo, and bringing it home is Hall Carter. Let's get this one right here. There we go. Is Hall Carter, VP Sales and Business Development at Transfr. Transfr's mission is to train the future of every industry and open up exciting new opportunities for talent across the globe and at home. Welcome, Hall.
Gotcha. Thank you. First of all, congratulations to the New York Tech Alliance on your 1-year anniversary. That's huge. And thank you for having us here tonight. So my name's Hall Charter. I'm a VP at Transfr VR. So we're a virtual reality education and training company. And I wanted to start tonight just by talking about a little bit of a backdrop of the education landscape today across the US. And see, these are some figures that we're seeing since the pandemic. So a 6% reduction in community college enrollments nationwide. We're seeing a 46% increase in high schoolers that are seeking jobs that do not necessarily require a 4-year degree, and really ultimately saving them in college debt as well. But also 75% of high schoolers are now looking for vocational skills training programs that are going to provide them with those hands-on skills to be able to enter those types of careers. So I want to introduce you to Transfr, and the best way I can do that, given it's virtual reality, without coming around and putting a headset on every single one of you, I'll show a short video here that will give you a bit of a taste of what it's like inside the simulations. And then I do have a headset up the back as well, if anyone wants to come around and demo afterwards.
Welcome to Transfr. Transfr brings the future of training to your organization with hands-on simulations that equip learners with essential skills they'll need to enter a new career. Trainees move at their own pace through the hands-on simulations where they gain valuable experience and can make mistakes in a safe environment.
Got it.
During instruction, our digital coach gives learners real-time feedback to help them develop skills and confidence.
That's right. That was a good attempt.
Learners demonstrate their mastery of basic skills through hands-on practice,
Nice.
building a comprehensive foundation of the knowledge they'll need on the job. Transfr's curriculum is developed with industry experts to create authentic experiences that introduce learners to safe working procedures and the tools they'll use to prepare them for real-world jobs.
All right. Now we're going to use this winch to haul up the train.
At Transfr, our trainer Simon contains the working knowledge from real human experts.
Welcome to the fuel station. While larger aircraft...
Trainee progress data is tracked along every step of their training journey and is available for instructor review. When a trainee masters a simulation, they're ready to demonstrate those skills with an instructor on the job in the real world. Transfr enriches traditional training programs, allowing trainees to learn wherever it makes sense without expensive industry equipment or facility.
Okay, I'm running down on the clock here, so I'm going to skip that video a little bit early. But really, our growth over the last 7 years as a company has been mission-driven. One of the comments that resonated with me earlier was looking at technology as being cool, but really this group ultimately trying to find ways in which to use technology for a greater purpose. And I had no idea personally that VR had an application for the education space until I met the founder of Transfr and have then been a part of that mission ever since. So basically you put on the headset, you have the hand controllers, and you're immersed in a complete 360-degree simulation, just like you saw on the video. And it's super intuitive with the hand controllers as well. So we have two sides of the platform. One is career exploration, which, as the name says, it's really just short exploratory experiences for someone to be able to understand a day in the life of a different career. And then we also have what we call our virtual training facility, which is our much more in-depth hands-on training simulations that are aligned with high school programs, with community college programs, and much more in-depth curriculum. And we align with a lot of the major national career clusters across the US. We have a dashboard as well that goes into all the analytics for all of the students and the actual training information as they're going through the simulations, which is super important to our partners. But ultimately, the training experiences have huge outcomes on the actual learners as well. And from all of the efficacy studies that we've done, we've seen things like 60% more on-task work during a simulation compared to traditional learning experiences. 90% of learners actually achieve skill mastery in their first attempt in virtual reality. And there's also a 200% higher learning recall of the information that they're actually doing in VR because they're going through the hands-on skills, the motor skills, and actually practicing it rather than just sitting there, you know, watching a video or listening to a teacher talk about it. So I'll pause there. I know I'm over the 4 minutes, but let's dive into questions. Crickets. I can't have done that well with the presentation, surely. There's a couple up the back there.
Hi there, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Cool, yeah, good stuff. How would you kind of describe your product market fit right now? How would you describe your just basic, like, MVP maybe? You know, just maybe short and sweet, just really curious, but this is really awesome stuff. I actually have a name for the sort of the job function criteria that you're building out, so maybe we can connect and talk about that too. Thanks.
Yeah, would love to connect. So we, on the topic of MVP, we developed our MVP just over 5 years ago, which was a manufacturing program. And what we did was we went out and spoke to employers that were trying to hire for certified production technicians or certified logistics technicians, and they couldn't find enough of this talent. A lot of these manufacturers are having serious challenges hiring. So we went out and talked to them and understood, you know, what are the skills and the equipment and the tools that these folks actually need to learn to be successful in the job. And so we went back, we had our team build out our first simulation. It was called Precision Measurement in Manufacturing. And then we actually tested it with the state government in Alabama. And they were able to successfully train and hire folks for Lockheed Martin, the aerospace defense company in Alabama. And that proved out our MVP. And we then just expanded rapidly from there. The government asked us to start building in construction, automotive, healthcare, diesel, you know, all of these other areas and industries that that were on the previous slide there. I can go back to. And now we have the largest VR training catalog in the US. Hopefully that answers the question.
Hi, Hall. Good to see you. We met back there.
Yes.
So my question I asked you before, but I think people would benefit from it. Is there something beyond sort of the manual dexterity training, and I guess pushing the right button, so to speak?
Yep.
That you do training on, something like I don't know, serving somebody at a restaurant, or is that not really a good fit?
Yeah, that's a great question. And when this question comes up, I mean, the best way to explain it is that virtual reality is really more about the motor skills of going through the motions. So let's say, for example, you're learning how to change the oil on a car. The digital coach will tell you, hey, come over and lift up the hood and take out the dipstick and going through the steps, so you're actually moving around in the simulation. But you may not be able to feel the weight of, if you're lifting up a tire or something, you're not going to be able to feel that, or the feedback of a torque wrench as you're twisting it in the simulation. But you're going through the motor skills of the doing, and that's really the most important part that improves your learning retention of those skills. So there's other technologies, things like haptic feedback gloves and things like that that are much more expensive, that can provide some of that physical feedback. But for us, we want to make it as cheap and as easy as possible for schools, rural schools as well, like right across the US, to be able to have the accessibility and the equity for this type of training nationwide. Great question. There's one up the back there.
So my question is, for places that don't, because I assume you need like good internet infrastructure to run these VR trainings. So what do you do for the areas that don't have that internet infrastructure, that they still run 3G or something of the sort?
Yep, that's another great question. So our training actually runs directly off the device, off the headset itself. So even though it does require an internet connection, it's only for the student to be able to log in with their username and password. And then once it identifies the student, it will display the necessary skills and modules that are part of their program so that they can go through. But the simulation itself is just running locally on the device. But we also do have MiFis as well, which is basically like the router, the portable router that connects to 3G or 5G now. And we have a lot of rural schools and we've had one partner that flew headsets in a bush plane up into rural Alaska with a set of MiFis as well, and they were able to go through the training in the middle of nowhere, which was really cool. So, yeah, but the internet thing can be an issue for some folks who don't have it, but there is an alternative solution. So, great question.
We've got one more question in the back.
Hi, mate. Thanks for this. You mentioned a minute ago the example of, a mechanic teaching you how to change the oil on a car, which is resonant. I had a flat tire today and literally had to call someone to come do that. The way you described it sort of sounded like a pretty traditional lesson, right? Virtual mechanic says do this, student does that, and there's a right or wrong answer. There's a sort of linear progression to learning. It's just guided by a virtual person instead of a real person. Is there anything actually kind of innovative on a pedagogical front about transfer? Or is it just kind of a cool, flashy toy version of traditional linear education?
So I can't really speak to the technical and pedagogical things that are happening in the back end, but what I can say is the way that we design our experiences is that the virtual coach will guide the trainee through the steps that they need to go, and we program them in the same way that a certified instructor would actually teach that in the classroom. And then once they go through that first half of the simulation, the coach then says, okay, I'm now stepping back and I'm not going to give you that instruction and guidance anymore. You have to now go through and repeat that task. And that's where our algorithm then assesses their behavior, their mistakes, where they're looking, are they focusing on the right thing, how long are they taking to do that specific skill. And that algorithm generates a mastery score, which then shows up in the dashboard that I was showing there as well. So you can see all the different data and analytics, not only the mastery score, but maybe how many times someone tried a simulation. Let's say someone was doing that entire automotive module and they got 93% mastery on the oil change, but then the battery safety check, you can see they did it 8 times and they only got 54% as a higher score. If I was the instructor, I now know, okay, I'm going to bring that student into the actual lab and spend some time on that skill because I can see where they're struggling. And then we have on-your-own assessments as well, which is more of an evaluation simulation where there's no coaching at all. And they go through a set of tasks where the system actually assesses their abilities on those skills as well. But happy to talk more later on and I can connect you with people in the organization on the pedagogical stuff as well.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Paul, do you have an ask or an offer?
Yes, I do. Really quickly, we call it the Classroom to Career Pathway, and this is our mission to really help people get connected right from their initial stages when they're trying to just explore and understand what careers are out there, what aligns with their natural skills and interests, and then connecting them with the training organizations across America that can utilize the VR headsets, and then finally placing them in jobs. That's really the end of that classroom to career continuum. So my ask for you is that if any of you can help us on this mission to build this pathway and this continuum, please come and connect. Thank you.
Great job. This is the mic that won't quit. Okay, big round of applause for everybody. Great job, guys. Really appreciate you. Each company has a table around the room, so feel free to connect afterwards and chat further. Before we conclude, I'd like to invite anyone here to come on. Well, we're running a little long right now, so what I'd like to do is just introduce James Dunn, VP of Business Development here at Civic Hall, and my compadre.
Is this on? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Another round of applause for our awesome presenters. How awesome was that? They did an amazing job. And not only do they have cool tech, but they're all awesome people. You should get to know them tonight if you can, or around Civic Hall if you are going to come back to Civic Hall, which we hope you will. I do have a few points to call out that weren't mentioned, or maybe I want to underscore, actually. So Pat was asking about Quill, how they get promoted. They were actually featured on the Today Show, which was amazing. We're very proud of that. Big round of applause. Featured on the Today Show. And then, Holly, I have a question for you. You mentioned Jerry, the pizza owner. Does Jerry have a pizzeria that we don't know about, or was that a fictional character? Fictional, okay. All right, good. The other thing that she did mention, but I did want to underscore, is she has an amazing Korean barbecue restaurant right in the Flatiron district called Mr. O. I've been there several times, and I highly recommend it. So in addition to having some great tech, she has some good food, too. In addition to the members here, I did want to call out a few members here. That we have so many amazing members. This is Doug and I had to really struggle to cull this down because we have so many awesome members here. So we're glad that we were able to showcase a few of the unbelievable companies and people that are here at Civic Hall. But two folks that are here in the audience that we didn't get a chance to call out, two amazing women. One is Ali Deshay of Baddies in Tech. In addition to having a great organization, she ran an awesome event here called BaddieCon, which I hope you'll do it again next year, and I encourage all of you to attend. It was one of my favorite events here. And then also, I want to call out Kamina Singh. Where's Kamina? In the back. Kamina runs an organization called Human Options, and she's run some amazing career events here, some of the best. She's one of the hardest working women I know, and it's been great to be a part of that, and we've hopefully gotten some really talented people employed as a result of that. So I wanted to call them out. And I also just wanted to say, Civic Hall, if you look at the word cloud there, I love the words that are coming up. Friends, community, networking, that's what it's all about here. It's about the connections. And I think we have a, do I have a slide, Doug, or no? Is this not working? Okay, the right clicker, okay. If you're not a member here, and a few of you raised your hands as first time they're being at Civic Hall, we'd love for you to come and check us out, and I'd love to offer you a trial membership. So all you have to do is scan that QR code with your phone, and you can apply online, and that'll come to me, and if it's reasonable and not unreasonable, I should say, I'll definitely approve it, and we'd love to have you come and join as a trial member here. That is the end of the programming, folks. You've been very patient. I do want to say that we have Chef Roy and Chef Connie and the culinary team who have prepared some awesome food for us tonight. So anybody hungry? Good. All right. Well, we have some awesome food. We're going to open the bar again, and we also have an awesome DJ. So maybe we'll get some people dancing. I don't know. We'll see. But please enjoy. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We hope you all had a great time and enjoyed the programming. Thank you so much.